You know that feeling in a dance class where you're just trying to memorize a bunch of steps, but you're not actually speaking the language of the dance? Well, today, we're going to dive into a totally different way of thinking about how we connect on the dance floor.
And to get there, let's start with a real head-scratcher. What on earth could the martial arts icon Bruce Lee possibly have to do with a dance style that, at one point, caused a massive salsa recession? I know, it sounds wild.
And what if I told you that this very strange connection holds the key to a better way of learning to dance? A way that's all about real connection, not just memorized choreography. We're going to break down exactly how it all fits together. Okay, so first things first, we need to talk about a problem that pretty much every social dancer has felt, even if they couldn't quite put it into words. Let's call it the social dance paradox. We go dancing to feel free, but the way we're taught is often super rigid. Here's the heart of it, right here. Out on the floor, what we all want is to improvise, to have that free-flowing connection with our partner. But in the classroom, we're drilled on memorized patterns and rigid repetition. See the disconnect? It's like we're trying to learn the art of conversation by just memorizing a few scripted sentences. It just doesn't work.
So it just begs the question, right? There has to be a better way to learn this beautiful, spontaneous art form.
And it turns out, there is. One really powerful answer comes from a philosophy called Lenga. The whole idea is to stop thinking about dance as a bunch of different styles and start seeing it as one universal language.
The name itself is the biggest clue. Lenga comes from Papiamentu, a language from the Caribbean, and it just means language. And that's the core idea. It's a system where individual moves are like words, and the transitions that connect them, that's the grammar. The goal isn't to memorize sentences, it's to actually learn how to speak.
And the method is actually pretty simple. It's got 3 steps. First, you deconstruct. You take those long choreographies and break them down into their smallest parts. Second, you loop. You practice these short little sequences over and over to really master the transitions, the grammar. And finally, you recombine. You start pacing those parts together in totally new, improvised ways. It's the difference between just reciting a poem and actually being fluent.
Now, all of this sounds really cool in theory, but does it solve a real problem? Well, if you take a quick look back at dance history, it suggests that a new system like this might be exactly what we need.
Okay, so let's go back to Bruce Lee. In the 1980s, this band Los Kenton started mixing merengue with kung fu. Seriously, it created this craze called Kento Mania that was so big it caused a salsa recession. Pure innovation, right? Then, fast forward to 1997. The First World Salsa Congress comes along and creates global rules standardizing the dance. That's structure. But then by the 2000s, you get conflict. The bachata wars break out between traditional Dominican bachata and this new, slick European style.
And this conflict was intense. I mean, the passion was off the charts. Listen to what the Dominican comedian Danny Perez said about the new style. They think that is the real bachata, that you have to dance it with elegance? No, that is a lie. You can just feel that raw frustration when one rigid definition gets pushed as the only way.
So what we're seeing here is this constant cycle, right? Innovation comes along and creates freedom. Then standardization comes along to create structure. But both of them, if you're not careful, can end up trapping dancers in these rigid little boxes and just sparking more conflict.
So how does a dancer break out of that cycle? This is where the Dance Lenga approach gets really practical and honestly fun. It's all built on a super simple mindset. Play, don't just memorize. It all starts with one simple action. Cut. You take any pattern, any combination you learn in a class, and you just mentally slice it up into its smallest individual pieces, its core ingredients. And then you paste. You start treating those individual elements like Lego bricks. They're not part of some fixed sequence anymore. Now you can connect them in any order you want, creating something totally new every single time you dance.
Now, the real secret sauce to all of this is something called a dance loop. It's just a short, repeatable sequence of 2, maybe 3 of those little elements. Practicing these loops isn't about memorizing the loop itself. It's about mastering the transitions between the blocks. This is how you really learn the grammar of improvisation.
And this whole approach helps solve some of the most annoying frustrations in social dance. You know, being stuck in that signature move rut where you just do the same 3 patterns? Gone. You get endless variety. Those moves that felt unleadable, they suddenly start to work because you understand the principles behind them. It can even help bridge the gap between dancers of different levels. And best of all, you can't forget choreography anymore because you've mastered the pieces, not the one long sequence.
But what if this is about more than just becoming a better dancer? What's the bigger vision here? What's the why behind a philosophy like this?
At its heart, social dance has always been about connection. And wow, that might be more important right now than ever before. Recent studies are showing that nearly 2/3 of young adults say they feel lonely. Think about that. We are in the middle of an epidemic of isolation.
And this really shifts the whole perspective, doesn't it? A system like dancing Lenga, it stops being just a method for learning steps. It becomes a powerful framework for real, genuine human connection.
In fact, the philosophy's mission statement is incredibly bold. Just listen to this. We believe that dancing together can save humanity. People from diverse backgrounds bridge their differences together on the social dance floor and come closer together both literally and figuratively. I mean, that's a powerful and pretty inspiring goal.
Which leaves us with this one last big question to think about. If we approach dance less like memorization and more like communication, if we moved away from rigidity and towards real connection, could we actually dance our way to a better, more connected world?